From the Fatheads Eyewear Studio in Indianapolis, Indiana, this is The Skinny.
Maybe I need to start in the trash truck business.
Don't rule it out.
But the steering is spokes on the wheel straight ahead. The steering's broken. Bridges takes the wheel and he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa.
He's airborne, and then I'm above him.
Inverted.
All at the same time. Yeah, you're just like, wow, that's a wild picture.
He gets behind the race car and he tells me if I'm good or not, and if I'm good, he'll go, perfect.
I hang up on the guy. I go, who's this? This is Deion Sanders. I go, yeah, nice try. See you later.
Bounce and then this insane roll. That thing sent it.
I hate qualifying. It's the worst. It's literally the worst thing you could ever do.
But I'm smooth and creamy like milk chocolate. Have you ever not saw a Hershey bar that did not look good?
Hi, I'm Tony Stewart.
I'm Mario Andretti.
I'm Johnny Rutherford.
I'm Angel Sampe.
I'm Travis Pastrana.
This is Antron Brown.
Hi, I'm Dakoda Armstrong, and this is The Skinny.
Welcome to The Skinny, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in Indianapolis, Indiana. This is the Fatheads Eyewear Studio. I am Ken Stout. I'm going to mix it up here just a little bit. That's Michael Young over there.
Right here.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Quick on the button.
Thank you.
That was nice, even though I mixed it up. Of course, Rico Elmore, as always. And joining us here on the set is Dakoda Armstrong, part of the Armstrong team, if you will. There's a Dakoda, there's a Caleb, there's a Dalton. There's a group of them that hang out. And from your neck of the woods up there in Newcastle.
Yeah. They were the farm studs out in the country. We were the city slickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've known his dad and his uncle for many years, and have watched these guys come through it. Have watched Brian Clausen started with these guys. A lot of people don't know that, and they've been involved with the development of a lot of great drivers, including him, his brother, his cousin, and those guys. So, and they farm a lot of land as well. They actually do another job. So.
Yeah, let's dismiss the myth right off the bat that Caleb is not your brother.
He is my cousin, yes. Yeah. We're so close, though. We started racing at the same time. We've raced everything together. And we're pretty...
His hair was gray before anybody I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
What was he, about 19?
Yeah, well, in high school, 17, he was starting to gray.
Just good with blonde.
I think 18, he was full gray. So, yeah.
Funny how that goes.
Yeah. And listen, Dakoda was an absolute talent, still is by all means, but like Caleb had a total different style in the way he raced, and he is as methodical and as smooth as Dakoda was. Caleb was not. He was going for it, and it was pretty interesting, the two different driving styles, and it seems like that came into play at Anderson here.
Yeah, you said you're like brothers. Do you still talk after that little 500 thing?
How can you be happy after that? How'd that
I'll tell you. Well, I ran 499 perfect laps. It's too bad it was a 500 lap race. It's funny though. Now coming back to like the open wheel stuff, I take so much pride in Kevin Biesacker is our crew chief on everything we do to both those cars. But like you said, both those cars run completely different setups because I can't drive his and he cannot drive mine. And so the fact that we were both 1-2 there at the end and all the drama before that, you don't get to hear the in-car stuff, but I was absolutely losing my mind that whole race. We were pushing it on fuel and we kept getting all these cautions. I'm like, I'm running out. We're going to run out with 1-2 laps to go here and we're going to finish 12th or whatever. So that kind of helped me solve.
Do you have a strategist on the box?
Yeah, it's my dad. So that's the problem. He'll let you know, but
he's gonna tell you, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Keep going. You're good. I think we got this.
Well, I'm doing the math up here. I got it.
Yeah. So it's just the way it works out is it's just you're wanting to push those cars to the limit on fuel, and he just happened to put not enough in mine where I was leading the race. I had to save for 100 laps leading in that deal. And I actually we did the fuel mileage. I saved about 0.2 better than what our motor actually, so it made us make it. But right there at the end, I was so worried about that. I didn't get my tires cleaned up good enough on that restart. And he was just full scenting it. And I kind of slipped off it too. And he just got me. But if it had been anyone else, I would have been really mad. But it just, the fact that we've been working so hard to get there to that point, like 2 years before I ran second, the year before that, he ran second. And so we're both 1-2. It kind of makes it a little easier to swallow. But the 2 years ago when I ran second there with Tyler Rohrig, they told me that was the closest finish in that race's history, and I happened to beat it this last race. So I got the first and second top two finishes on the wrong side.
Top two closest finishes
on the wrong side.
On the wrong side, so not what you want. But
And Caleb's qualified on the pole there a couple, 2-3 times as well.
We've always had fast cars for that race, but man, it's just one of those. If you haven't seen the race with all the pitting and stuff, it's literally the wild, wild west, of pit stops compared to anywhere in the country. I mean,
That's
it's just,
fueling race.
So
let's everyone's just.
This is
winging
TV. So let's tell, because all the fans don't know, if you live here in Indianapolis, obviously the Indianapolis 500 is a massive weekend. Well, there's a lot of other racing that goes on in this area all for like 2 weeks. It's just race mecca, and certainly that weekend it's going on. So they have this race at Anderson. It's about 30 to 45 minutes away from Indianapolis, that they call the Little 500. And much like the Big 500, they bring the sprint cars out there, and they line them up 3 wide on this little bull ring track, and they race for 500 laps.
It's a quarter mile. Yeah, that's quarter mile high bank.
Yeah.
It ain't quarter mile flat. High bank.
And then, of course, as these guys just started talking about, you have to refuel these cars to make it to the end of the race. And I was going to ask you, because I've heard the secret to success is whoever is driving the push truck, whatever push truck driver got paid the most, maybe was.
Yeah, I don't know about years past, but I have seen some hundreds get slipped. You know what I mean?
Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pretty level set right there.
I guess that's the one part of it. It's just everyone just kind of winging it, we're all just going for it. But actually, that's the cool part about us. We actually pitted both our cars out of the same pit stall.
Oh, did
we
you
did
really?
it kind of like F1 style, and we used to use IndyCar guys. But about 2 years ago, I remember we had some Ganassi guys coming, and Chip put a cut of that. So I want everyone rested up, no little 500. So like, okay. So we had to have a group of guys.
It's the night before the 500. So the race isn't over till 12-1, and people
and they got to
be at the speedway by 4 in the morning.
So I mean, I understand. There's a little bit bigger deal, I guess, the next day for that pick through. But so we just got some dudes. Yeah, right. We got some guys that are just, late model guys around us that are just like, hey, we'll do it, and then they're good. We've been using them here the last couple of years, and we decided this year we're going to try to pit out of just one stall. Just make one. We actually, the way we did it, we had a stall, and then we picked right beside each other. So we just got one big stall. Because if you try to pit 33 cars on a bull ring, like the pit stalls are this big.
Yeah.
And then you got to get a push truck in behind you. And we thought we kind of had it worked out. I think there's a little more strategy we can do. But it's just one of those things. This race has been going on forever. And it's just like no one really has nobody's really dove into the
the mechanics.
They're just like, man, I mean, the first year I did it when I was 15, there was a driver that jumped out, an old man. He was, caught by the back, but he jumped out, put his fuel jug in. Him and his 90-year-old wife were just sitting there dumping fuel into the deal. They just wanted to finish, So it's just one of those deals. It's just
get back in, strap them in, and get it rolling.
I think they're 70-something years into it, so it's a cool event.
We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll chat a little bit more about the Little 500. It's certainly worthwhile. Stay with us.
Hit it till you see it flowing out the tubes, and it goes, and it's shooting out like gallons per second. It's like, all right, good, go.
The Skinny is brought to you by Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04. And American Coach. Innovation is our life force.
You're looking at Dakoda Armstrong, well over 200 feature wins across multiple disciplines, a lot of different styles of race cars all along the way. Great to have him on the studio, or on the set with us here in the studio. Dakoda, we were chatting about the Little 500 before we went to break. And I wanted to ask you what you guys do. You mentioned the fuel rigs. Everybody has their own way of doing it. Are there specific rules now how fast you can dump it in?
No, I mean, it's just whatever you can do. I know a couple guys use some old IndyCar rigs. I think Bob and O'Gara's doing them. They're pretty quick, but it's, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, no one's really dove in. We're starting to. Like, we actually use, we had some, just some big old things built. and we use some old like chemical inductors from our farm. They just happen to flow the best, and so that's what we use. They can fill it up in about 10 seconds, about 38 gallons. So,
And I mean, what's there to worry? I mean, it's
And you
just,
got to blow the vent out. You got to blow the air out. What's the process?
So we'll run like we'll run like, that's what we're working on now, is trying to get more air to evacuate from that tube, from the back of your tank. But we'll probably spill about 3 or 4 gallons every time we're loading it up. So you get all those rigs in there spilling hundreds of gallons every time. Luckily,
not to mention that you're the driver sitting in it, and the fuel fill is about 6 inches behind your back.
Right.
Yeah,
and you don't want to get it on the rotor.
Right. Yeah, everything's hot coming in. We shut it off at least, so maybe that helps. But
Oh, definitely.
Here's what I'm laughing at. So we grew up doing sports car racing. If you're running, say, NASA or SCCA, something like that, they literally have a guy out there. If you spill a drop of fuel on the track, you're penalized and maybe done for the day. And you guys are like, yeah, we're not willing to spill 2 or 3 gallons.
That's what we tell the guy. Like, hit it till you see it flowing out the tubes, and it goes, and it's shooting out like gallons per second. Like, all right, you're good to go. So, like I said, it's literally the Wild Wild West of pit stops. So you have to come see the race. If you haven't seen
No smoking allowed.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I mean, they probably say that, but I'm sure there's some dudes got some cigs.
They got
hanging out the side while they're hitting.
I'm sure they
push truck drivers with the long darts ripping around.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely that. That's true. Definitely.
What was the one guy's name? What did Charlie? The one guy that was the push truck driver there forever that spun the tires every time he.
Well, this last time I got pushed off, this dude was ripping right in front of my cousin, and I mean, I'm talking full burnout.
Yeah,
I mean, just white smoke the whole field out, and it's like we're trying to get pushed off here.
Not
like,
let it start rolling. He's got it matted.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's just blowing the back tires off of it. It's like, hold on here, bud. Take it easy. Yeah, it was. So you guys started in quarter midgets, right? At what, like at the fairgrounds? Was that the main?
So we started go-karting at 6, like everyone ever in racing, but there was just a weird, I couldn't really, I'd be 10 to move up. We'd already won like 60 something features. We were winning everything in our area. We were traveling Florida winning. And that's when we kind of moved to quarter midgets. And we ran there, mini Indy there at the fairgrounds. And really, I did everything you could get. I ran these NASCAR deals that ran circles to the right, like made no sense. I did bandoleros, anything I could get in, we jumped in. So I had a lot of just experience of different driving at a young age. So.
I heard that you're the fastest grain bin driver.
Grain bin driver, yeah. Well, I'm like the only one who sweeps out grain bins anymore. So that's my only workout now.
His dad's like asking him about how fast he drives the bin truck or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Catching them with
that's what we're during harvest. Yep, I'm always road gear, catching up, trying to keep up with all of our guys dumping corn while we're going corn and beans. So
how many acres?
We do about 8,200 now. Yeah, so I don't even know how my family raced when I was younger, because now I got a younger one and we're trying to start, and I can't even fathom it. I'm like, when did you guys have time to go race? We're racing all the time, and now I'm just like, it's like we're working. My oldest is 6, so we're right there. We're about to start. We've been practice one time with a quarter midget, so I'm like, oh boy, I got to start at basics here, trying to teach someone how to race. So
now you know what your dad went through.
Yeah, I know why he was yelling so much. No, but it's just funny seeing it when you're trying to come full circle here. It's different trying to watch from the start. So
yeah, well, just tell him to build a track there so you guys don't have to go so far.
Yeah, who probably will. Don't give him any ideas. So we'll see. But
yeah, your dad loves racing. Were you confirm this, I guess, the youngest USAC national champion there in a car?
Yeah, so I ran the Kenny midget. They when USAC took it over, they actually made the rule 14, but I was already racing at 12. So they grandfathered me in. And I actually won the championship. So
wow,
it still holds to this day. They'll probably never beat it just because they'll never run a series where you're 13.
Once in a while, the rule book works your
right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, but it was cool when they did USAC did their 50-year anniversary poster. They had all the champions of everything in there, and I'm down there in the bottom left corner at 13.
I remember that.
I got that. I still have that poster hanging up. That's a really cool one.
We had kind of the same scenario. We had Joey Payne on here, big block modified guy up in the Northeast, and they changed the rule book. And at Oswego,
Oh, yeah,
he'll forever hold the track record based on those rules.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
the way it goes. We're going to take a quick break here. Stay with us. We have Dakoda Armstrong on the show.
I remember we go through, we've been running for about an hour and a half. I get out, the worst clutch smell you've ever smelled in your life.
Welcome back to the Fatheads Eyewear Studio. You are watching the Skinny here in Indianapolis, Indiana, the racing capital of the world. We love it here. Love the studio as well, and we love it in large part because we get guys like Dakoda Armstrong that just come cruising in here. So it doesn't get a whole bunch better than that.
That is kind of an interesting thing about the group of people that we have on here, have had on here. I don't know where there's a better place in the world that you could get the talent that we get in here, let alone the guy that runs our board for us, talking about talent.
Stop. Just stop.
Hey, you mentioned something at the top of the show, and I had it written down on my notes to talk to him about, and because I wasn't aware of this, but you guys helped me clarify or tell the whole story properly here. But you guys, did you give Brian Clausen his first sprint car drive?
Yeah, so he actually ran, when we ran Bandoleros, Brian would actually run with us. I'm trying to think, man, we were like 8, 9, my dad watched him. He was winning like a light A race in quarter midgets, and he's like, man, that kid can really drive. He's like, he's going somewhere. And so he let him kind of race some of cars with us growing up. He actually ran the Kenny midget the year before I did, and won in that deal when I think it was NEMA at the time. But my dad bought him his first sprint car engine, just kind of trying to help him out and run on that non-wing when he was 14. So yeah, so we helped him out. We just saw the immense talent and just knew just wanted to help him and kind of just really wanted to follow in his footsteps and kind of do some of the stuff he did. So he kind of helped us get our cars ready for when we jumped into them.
Wow.
So that's a pretty cool deal. A lot of people don't know about it. And, we take it for granted. It was such a fast time to happen, such a short part of our history, but it was really cool. So,
Can we talk about your first stock car ride?
Yes. I was hoping you'd bring this up. So
Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach. So Rico helped me get this ride. And so we drive
Hooters
down
Pro Cup.
Yeah, Hooters Pro Cup. Yeah.
And his dad is on absolute kill.
The whole time, yeah.
Kill. I mean, bouncing off the walls. I mean, if you knew Craig, you would know that was him to begin with.
But he's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. So he's definitely on kill, right? And it's me and Tom Aguilar, Cop Tom. And so Robert Huffman, right?
Yep,
Huffman?
yep.
Robert Huffman, great equipment, great guys. But he had a Hooters Pro Cup car. I got these guys hooked up with them. They put a deal together with them. Well, they get down there, and Craig comes to mind. It comes to Craig's mind. He goes, Dakoda doesn't know how to drive a stick shift.
I did not. Yeah.
And they go and get a car and test drive a car on a car lot and take it out and just rag the life right out of it.
It was the dealer's personal vehicle. And so my dad's over there teaching me how to shift, and we're going through and
jamming it.
I'm just jamming it. And he's like, oh, just bring it back when you're done. I remember we go through, we've been running for about an hour and a half. I get out, the worst clutch smell you've ever smelled in your life. We gave the guy cash, didn't leave our name, just dipped out of there. I was like, well, hopefully it was good enough.
Same story here, Robert. We had no clue how to drive one. I rented a Mustang. And we went to a church parking lot, and I taught him how to drive. And then we took the same Mustang up to the Autobahn outside of Chicago, and he ripped that thing all day long on the track, and we brought it back. That was a number of years ago. But it's funny that's how it goes. And those cars, though, those late models have a clutch in them about that big around and so easy to smoke.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say it helped a little bit, but I still had a terrible restart at the end of that race. But I remember that whole race, the way it went. Everyone... I go there, I'm talking to guys, oh, this is my first stock car race. I'm like, this is where they're bringing you your first time? But we qualified terrible. And I mean, we're versus riding like 24th. We get lapped early. And I'm seeing the leaders. And then all of a sudden it goes long green. All of a sudden, boom, 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 unlap ourselves, keep going, we're running. All of a sudden the leader comes up. I see a leader again. We drive all the way, unlap ourselves, drove all the way back up to 5th place. And then when the caution comes out, we have a late restart. I think we ended up like 9th, but that was cool.
Top 10.
Yeah, first time.
And
Yeah.
he was gassed.
I mean, dude, that you could have wringed that suit out. It was
Gassed.
it weighed 15
like
pounds.
the
of slip.
Indianapolis quarterback.
Yeah. I was tapping out, that's for sure.
Is that wrong, Michael? Okay,
Let's
we'll
take a
quick
break.
right here.
Boy, you're putting me in a real predicament here. Like, he had a recorder on, like it was just audio.
Welcome back to the Skinny. Having a great time here this week with Dakoda Armstrong, and these two guys obviously with some history as well. And as always, the stories go on during the commercial break. Maybe we're going to do a best of show. Maybe we'll bring you some of those since we chat about it all the time. But you guys mentioned that there were some more shenanigans that went on after that race.
So we're driving home, and Tom, is a police officer, and they do that secret badge handshake when they get pulled over for going about 90 and a 50. And well, we're Dakota's out. He's knocked out.
Wore out. He's tired.
In the back seat. And Craig is back there bouncing off the walls. He's still going crazy because it was a great race. It was a lot of fun. We get pulled over in Virginia by the state cop. And he comes walking up there, and he said, and Tom's line was, I'm a police officer. I have a weapon in the console. And the guy would always say, let me see your ID, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the guy says, and he's pointing the whole time. He goes, boy, you're putting me in a real predicament here. Like, he had a recorder on, like it was just audio. But his supervisor was sitting in the car, so he could hear everything that he was saying. And let me tell you something. In Virginia, they will write their mother a ticket. So it got a little.
This guy was mad. I remember waking up and he was beat red. Man.
He was hot.
Nearly 200 starts. I gotta tell you, dude, I had no idea you had that many starts.
Yes.
But I think it was like 133 and Xfinity, and then the balance of, I think, what the number is, like around 177 or something starts with the trucks. But a lot of seat time, and you drove for some great teams. Thor Sport, Childress at some point.
Yep.
You signed a deal with Richard Petty.
Yes.
I mean, you were pounding around there.
Yeah,
with the
we were
big
good.
dogs.
Yeah, and the children's races were good. We just never could. We were fast, and we just didn't. The 4 races I ran, we never timed it out right on a good finish. We'd run like 13 or so, but we were good enough for top 10, top 5 every time, and just something would happen late in the race. We have a bad pit stop or something. Just I was a rookie at the time, just trying to learn. But especially towards the end of my career, like, man, if I could go back into that ride, all I had learned, from like running at Petty's, running at JGL was a team that was just a single team that we kind of really ran pretty well for what we had, being non-cup affiliated. We were always right there on close to making the chase every year. So, I feel like for the equipment we had, the guys really gave it their all. And one cool stat, like I think for any driver that has over 100 starts, like I have the lowest DNF percentage in NASCAR in Xfinity history. Yeah. So I think it was just a testament of the teams I did run. Even though we were underfunded, it was just everyone really took to heart on keeping those cars together, and I did my best not to wreck them. So, and that's part of it. I knew.
Well, not wrecking in the truck series or Xfinity series. I mean, you should get some sort of award for that alone.
No kidding. Yeah, but it was one of those deals too, where I knew our situation. Like I couldn't go wreck those cars, and we would be ready next week to have anything somewhat competitive. So I had to make sure I was running as hard as I could without tearing up stuff, and, there was times we'd go to tracks where it's expensive to replace the brakes every week, so that's a cost, like not trying to burn them up. So that way we can keep running the same brake package 2 times in a row, just stuff like that. Where, the bigger teams, they, obviously don't worry about that.
Right.
So, but, I was lucky, I have some really great owners, running for the King was awesome. It was really cool, it's just a team that just never could really get like, that next level. They tried everything, and I now they're their legacy now, and they're still trying to get there. But man, great group of people. Just
Isn't
it's
it
tough.
amazing how great they were, and then it kind of passed you in the middle of the night, and then you're just fighting an uphill battle to try to get back to that greatness.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just technology. It's just once it's hard, and to stay at that top, like the Hendricks, Gibbs, like it takes a lot to stay up there. You know, those guys really put a lot of work, and they have great people to get those cars as fast as they are.
Did you ever look at Dad and just say, maybe 10,000 acres, Dad?
Yeah, well, you know, right? Yeah,
8,200.
Well, I mean, to go run that stuff, we need 25. You know?
We'll take a break here. We'll be right back with Dakoda Armstrong.
I mean, you get there, you're sitting there in the middle, you're wide open. You're like, man, I really want to get out of here. You look to your left, look to your right, like, there's nowhere to go. You know, so you got guys, everyone's shoving you.
You can't slow down.
You can't slow down. Yeah, you can't lift. You're literally stuck.
The Skinny is brought to you by American Coach. American Coach, innovation is our life force. And Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04.
Welcome back to the Skinny here. Sorry for the laughter once again. It's just the way it goes sometimes. So we have Dakoda Armstrong here on the set with us, and I'm going to take a step back a little bit further here. We were talking about Xfinity. We were talking about the trucks, but you signed as a Penske development driver as well, and ended up driving with Cunningham in the ARCA series. And as I was looking at the results there, I saw a pattern. It's Salem, Winchester, someplace called Talladega.
Yeah.
All three of them were high banks.
Yeah, it's you know, I ran the sprint car Winchester, so obviously that, you know, you go run open wheel sprint cars, the stock car stuff's a little easier, but you know, just tracks that we were just happened to be good at, that Cunningham was good at. But you know, Talladega, just, you know, going there, I was still in high school when I won. So I remember all my friends called me Ricky Bobby.
That's what I was going to say. How does that feel going back to school the next day?
Yeah,
Like,
that was
let's
cool.
do this one.
That was
How
nice.
many knew? How many of your school buddies knew?
Well, for whatever reason, I remember like everyone in my class watched it. Just I knew we were
Oh, that's
we were
awesome.
fast, and we'd qualified the pole for it. So you know, going into that race, I knew we were good. We led a bunch. We got to, I don't know, there was like 10 to go, and we were running. We lost the front pack. I was like, we lost this stupid thing. I was fuming. I was mad on the radio. And we make a late push and pass going into 3 there for the win. So definitely the coolest victory I've ever been a part of, you know, for sure.
How do you time the big finish at Talladega in a pack of cars like you did?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's, I mean, really, you need other drivers to help you, you know. Like, I had Patrick Shelter was behind me in that race, shoved me all the way down the backstretch, and just luckily, you know, they were banging on the bottom. I was able to clear them. You know, and I almost won a truck race with Kyle Busch pushed me for 3 laps around there when we could tandem. And if I could do one race over 2, that would be another one where I just screwed up I let the bottom cars get too far ahead of us, but he was shoving me so hard I could literally feel my rear tires getting light down the back, and I'm just sitting there hanging on. So I didn't want to turn the wheel, but I needed to turn to get closer, kind of side draft a little more. And then we all ended up wrecking. We still finished 5th, but we were completely junked right across the line like a normal, you know, Talladega finish. But fun stuff, you know. The plate racing.
What's it like to be in that pack, man?
Man, when I was younger, I loved it. The older you get, it sucks. I mean, you get there, you're sitting there in the middle, you're wide open. You're like, man, I really want to get out of here. You look to your left, look to your right, and like, there's nowhere to go. You know, so you got guys, everyone's shoving you.
You can't slow down.
You can't slow down. Yeah, you can't lift. You're literally stuck. So I don't know. It's a really cool race because it's an equalizer. I mean, especially if you look at my past, like a lot of my best finishes were there and equipment that wasn't as good at other places, but I don't know. I mean, it's one of those deal too. Like, people have asked me if I'd go back and do it now. I'm like, oh gosh, I got 3 kids. I don't know, man. That like, it's fun, but it's not that fun, you know?
Do you stress the whole time? I mean, you're in that pack, and are you a drop to the back kind of guy and let things play out, or do you sit in the middle, try to get to the front? What's your plan?
I think it kind of depends on how your car is. You know, if you got a really good race car, you're better off to attack and get to the front and try to be safe. If your car is kind of I like to just kind of hang at the back and then, you know, just kind of dodge the wrecks, I guess. They're going to come. You can kind of always feel the tension build. Like, all right, we're about to wreck. Here it comes. So I think I ran 12 races in Xfinity, and I never got caught up in one plate race wreck. I had one DNF where we had a motor
Wow,
problem.
that's amazing.
But I was
that's
able
what I
to.
was getting ready to say.
I had a lot of jumping through the grass and to dodge it, but we never actually were in it. So, sometimes we wouldn't finish as good because of that, but we also had really good finishes because we survived. So, there's definitely a mastery to it, especially the guys that can get to the front, like, and really work the air, have good cars. But it's definitely different.
In sports car racing, we constantly talk about it. There's a crash damage clause. How do they work that?
Yeah,
over there?
I feel like there's not really one in NASCAR. A lot of that's just built in the per race deal. And that's actually a funny story. I was at Penske and we go in there and we're looking at all the cup stuff. I mean, just 15 cars for each team, just immaculate. And I go, let's go show you the Indy car. And 4 cars total, just like, oh, it's like, well, those cup cars cost $150,000 each. These cost like, 1.8, so it's a little different deal where,
Right.
You can rebuild the cup car, especially now with the way the bodies and all work. It's all similar. It's a lot cheaper putting it together. So, I mean, they still yell at you if you wreck them a lot, but it's not as bad as some of the open
part of the
stuff.
fun.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I had a question. I was chatting with Rob Klepper a little bit before. Going back to PRI when it was in Orlando, there was a midget race.
Yes.
Who won that?
Yeah.
Was it the first one?
I think it was the last one.
It was the last one?
The first one I went to, last one they ever had at Orlando. We won it in the
Speed World, right?
Yeah, in the midget there. Yeah, that's actually where because a lot of open wheel guys were there. So that's kind of where I met actually a lot of the.
It was a big deal because everybody would like get in a bus or something and ride over there. And
That's where Dave Steele ran a lot back in the day.
Yeah, it kind of helped me get my driver development deal years later because of that, just being in front of the guys and winning that big race. So
it was the one time that I remembered something that Klepper didn't.
Yeah, there you go.
I was like, I'm pretty sure he won that deal.
Yeah, that was a cool win for sure.
Yeah, he said I think Swanson won most of those. That's what comes to mind. So.
Yeah, well, that's what it feels like anymore.
Well, Swanson wins most of whatever he gets in, but great stuff here. Once again, we'll take a quick break here. Stay with us, and we'll wrap things up here with Dakoda Armstrong.
Me and Swans were hitting 185 getting into one.
Were you really?
In those silver round, yeah. So I was like, man, I really need to get a clear body where it's clear all the way from the motor to where the driver, so everyone can see how stupid we are for going that fast in those things.
Want to get the skinny on other guests in different types of motorsports? Check out our YouTube page and get the skinny.
You're looking at Dakoda Armstrong, a talented race car driver, and fresh off a couple of wins in the 500 Sprint Car Tour. You won the last 2 events of the year, the Tony Elliott Classic. You got your buddies over there.
Elliott's
Rico.
Custom Trailers and Carts.
There you go. We love them over there, of course, and also at IRP. So a great close, but you didn't run the entire season.
No, yeah, we didn't run all of them, but we actually focused a lot on the Silver Crown. Getting that stuff ready.
And congrats on that.
Yeah,
First
we won
2 wins,
yeah,
right?
we won at Madison, then we won at I call it Gateway, but Worldwide Technology, which what a cool place, to go run those cars. Like,
how is that from 1 and 2 to 3 to 4?
I mean, it's different, especially
Is
in
it
those
as
cars.
bad
I
in
mean,
that
it is
car?
so tight into 1 and 2. Yeah, well, especially those ones. Like I had a little mile per hour deal. Me and Swans were hitting 185 getting into one.
Were you really?
In those silver round, yeah. So I was like, man, I really need to get a clear body where it's clear all the way from the motor to where the driver, so everyone can see how stupid we are for going that fast in those things. But because you're just sitting on a bucket with the drive lines right between your legs, and we're doing that fast. I'm like, this is kind of dumb. And
I said this initially whenever I was talking about my son ran for Davey in the King of the Wing series, and we were out at Kern County, which is a high bank. They run around the bottom there because of the wing. They got enough downforce, but I think they're 160 miles an hour front straightaway. I mean, the Silver Crown cars don't make the power sprint car makes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 185, that's insane.
I mean, just, big body cars, just getting it. I mean, those are big straightaways at that track. So you just really get moving. But, yeah, and that was one thing, too, is like to make that corner in turn 1, we had a little bit of camber in that front. This thing drove terrible down that straightaway. Like, Swanson was running me down drafting, and they come on, they're like, break his draft. I'm like, dude, if I turn left, I'm wrecking this thing in the middle of the straightaway. So I was like, I'm holding on for dear life here. So but it's just a cool place to win, that was the whole reason we actually put a whole Silver Crown car together. Watching when they went back there, I was like, dude, I got to go to that track. It's going to help with my experience to go in there, and I guess it did pay off a little bit.
I saw Davey had a really good run there, Davey Jr.
Yeah.
DJ did he win?
I think he
there in
won
23?
Yeah, he won there the year before. Yeah,
And then I want to say the year before that he finished third, and I was standing down there in turns 3 and 4, and
yeah,
I didn't know how. I didn't think he was going to make it to the end of the race. I mean, right rear tire had smoke coming off of it. I mean, he was hanging on, man.
Yeah, it was
but he came back and he had a good run there in 23. Crazy place, though. I mean,
is.
so much
so
fun.
awesome.
All the it's during the same IndyCar
with Indy
weekend.
Next are with us. Yeah,
They're all out watching it.
Yeah,
you know, it's cool.
Very cool. It's a cool place. That's why it's funny because the Indy cars are so much faster per lap than us, but they're only doing like 8 miles an hour quicker into one. They just only slow up 10 miles an hour total, where we're on the brakes trying to catch the thing.
Right.
it's like,
trying to keep it down.
if we get to the very end, like we look similar, but it's funny.
Just think of the fun you're having.
Yeah,
you get to accelerate
right,
up.
yeah,
every
we get to
time.
stop
Rick
and
just
catch it. Yeah, they're
maintains.
just on wide open. Yep.
Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Yeah, it's cool to take a look at just some of your career. When you look back now, man, of all the racing that you've done, crazy.
It is, yeah. Not to age myself, I'm just getting old, I guess, you know. But the worst part is I feel like I'm running the best I've ever ran, you know, now. What we're doing, I just have a passion for it, I guess. And so I'm in the shop every week with my crew chief, Kevin Biesacker. We're just always mental, trying to get these cars better, thinking of next thing to make our Silver Crown sprint car better. It's just something I think I'm in the minority for sure, loving sprint cars on the pavement side exclusively, you know. So most people, when they think of sprint cars, they're like, it's dirt, but I've always just loved the pavement, you know. It's just one of those deals where it's, you know, man and machine just really trying to work together on the pavement to make the car better, where I feel like dirt, there's a lot more differences per race where you're changing stuff throughout the night trying to get the car better, where pavement's like you win it at the shop, you know. All the prep work, all that. It's like when you unload good, like you're good, you know. So I like that aspect of it, of working on it and just figuring out how to make a car go better. And I guess I'm just good at pavement too. If I was a really good dirt driver, I'd probably love that a lot more too.
But that's where I started with. I used to go with Jim and Ted Hines every weekend.
Yeah.
To the speedrome.
I ran the speedrome. Oh yeah,
the speedrome.
And that was one of the places that his dad and them would take these guys. Clausen, that if you could learn how to pass people there and get around that place, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be good about anywhere you went.
Talking about being tough on tires.
Oh yeah,
I mean that's just because the place wasn't paved for about 50 years. So they do
it's about the size of this room.
Stuff and
got a couple of ruts in the back, you know.
You got to use them to your advantage.
Run through the whoops, you know.
Yeah, and so it's one of the smallest tracks I flipped at and been to the hospital because of. So
wow.
Yeah, as a kid, I hit a turtle. They used to have the wheels down there. And I hit that, flipped the bandolero, rolled it. Ooh. Then I hit they switched to the. I call them the turtles now, but yeah, I hit that with I got spun, hit it with a Kenyon. It came up and landed so hard, I thought I broke my back, knocked the wind out of me. I was only like 12. They rushed me to the hospital. I was fine, but I was like, man, that place is
how's like the world championship figure eight?
Oh yeah,
it's a big deal.
8 hours or several hours long. It's not just an hour.
It's a big deal, man.
How's your mom when those things happen?
I don't know. She's okay.
I always remembered your mom being animated in the crowd.
Yeah, she was. She still is. She gets after it. But I don't know. She didn't really like racing when we first started. But I remember one time we were out jumping on the trampoline as kids. We fell off and I sprained my wrist. I was all hurt. And she's like, well, if they can get hurt doing that, I guess they can get hurt doing anything. So I might as well race. So that was her logic. So no more. She didn't fuss after that.
Marty has a lot of passion for it, which I love. I mean, she knows the game. She's been around the game the whole time they're doing it. And she gets fired up on him. So
that was kind of the Jagger Jones thing, right? He had his brother. Mom didn't want either one of them racing, so he's racing and he's doing MMA. So
there you go.
You're safer in a race car. Okay, we'll take a break here. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
I mean, that's a cool memory that, not a lot of people get to sing it, except at the King's Ranch, playing his favorite game, Roman Cuse.
The Skinny is brought to you by Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since 04. And American coach. Innovation is our life force.
Welcome back to the Fatheads Eyewear Studio. You're watching The Skinny. We have Dakoda Armstrong on the set with us here today. Started off when he was about 6 years old and won a WKA championship inside of karting and has been racing ever since. Awesome career. I mean, we've bounced around a lot here, but man, you've given us a lot of material to work with.
Yeah.
It has to be a great time looking back at it.
Yeah, I mean, just lucky to get to do what I did. It too is because just I've kind of already went to the stock car world, then I went back to open wheel, so it's kind of a different perspective. You don't really get to see where you get to do that side of that, and I guess I'm almost 7 years removed now, which is kind of crazy. It's how fast everything goes. So
7 years from stock cars.
yeah,
Wow.
So after I was out of it, I just didn't really race anything for a while, and then I was like, man, I gotta do something, and so we jumped back into sprint car racing, and it's been pretty decent here as of late.
What's it like on Thanksgiving Day between you and your brother and your cousin, your dad's brother? I mean, is everybody together on Thanksgiving? Do they farm together? Your dad?
Oh yeah,
your dad and his brother?
We all farm together.
Right?
Yeah, we all work together. So I would say this is a normal day at Thanksgiving. We're sick of each other at that point anyway. So we see each other every day. We're all working. So like they're actually.
That's what I was getting ready to say. They're all hammering down.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we're there. So we'll go today. They'll probably be like, as soon as Thanksgiving's over with, they're like, "Oh, we got some stuff we need to go work on." It's like, oh, geez, here we go again. So yeah, we're always
in the new shop. You got the new shop. I heard.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, geez, yeah. That's been a whole deal. My dad's loved putting that thing together.
What is it? He said it's 200.
Yeah, it's like I want to say 200 by 80. So yeah,
oh, nice.
Yeah, so you can never have enough barns. So
no,
it's that and bins when you're farming. You can never have enough storage. You can never have enough barns. You still have equipment sitting out everywhere. But it's nice. This is kind of a nice place to kind of let us work on all of our stuff.
Because originally it was at the house, right? Is that
yeah. So we'll still have like our race shop. We'll be there, but so most time you go in there. We're working on a combine in the front. You got to wiggle your way around it, back to the race shop where all our stuff's at.
That's the way I remember.
Yeah. So we had it all jammed in there. We're starting to space out a little bit where we make it a little nicer. We win a few races, and he's like, "All right, we got to have a nice race shop now." So
you would think maybe a farmer would go into the tractor pulling thing.
You would think. I don't know. It'd probably be less expensive at this point, but
I don't know about that one.
I know some guys.
Depends on what class.
That's true. They spend some crazy amounts on those things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, those are tractors for the farm.
Those.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what we. Yeah.
That's probably a straight up write off.
Absolutely, it is.
That's a good.
Get you a pro stock tractor.
Yeah. Well, I know all the trucks that pull the trailer. Those are farm trucks.
Yeah. Farm plated.
Hey, they're on DOT tires.
Yeah. Exactly.
All of our polling buddies that are farmers, they're not going to like us.
No, man.
Jake Zeri will be after
my
us.
bad. What about the mountain motor 4-wheel drive trucks? I mean, it's a guy's farm truck. That's a 4-wheel. That's my 4-wheel drive.
That's what Jake. That's what Jake runs. 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
The loudest, most obnoxious.
And they're big. There's some big trucks. They're 800, 900 inches. Yeah, those some big boys. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Absolute pleasure.
Hey, I got a quick question for him.
We're done now.
No, we still have plenty of time. I don't know why you guys want to wrap up this show. We've got plenty of time.
We're trying to stay on target, Michael.
We got plenty of
You've
time.
got us afraid.
We've got plenty
40
of time.
shows into this year, and you have us scared.
You got us scared.
What was the highlight of your career? If you look back on it, do you have any regrets? What was your highlight and a regret in your career if you had any?
I don't know if I have any regrets. I mean, obviously, I would change some things as far as where I targeted the sponsorship I had to run, but I don't know. It works out. Like all the experience I had with teams that weren't up to par, you still experience. It made me who I am today and learn the lessons. But I don't know. I mean, one of the coolest things I remember just going to Petty's. I remember when we would leave, after Phoenix, we'd all go to his ranch. And I remember sitting around there with all the drivers, crew chiefs, and we're playing his favorite game, Rumney Cube. He loved playing that game. We'd sit there and play it, and he'd be going around, he'd be pointing over all of our shoulders. Because the way you play, you get as many moves as you can think of, and so you have like a time limit. So he'd be sitting there like, "Oh, do this," and so it was. I mean, that's a cool memory that not a lot of people are going to sing it, except at the King's Ranch, playing his favorite game, Rumney Cube. So that was always always something to tell people, like, that's something behind the scenes that
It's
not
fun
many
to
people
see
are
him
gonna see
out of
that.
the racing world.
Yeah, I know.
Just the
Yeah, right.
regular.
I hadn't until that point, which is just crazy.
Hey man, great to have you on
Yeah.
the show finally.
Great
I
to
mean,
be
you're
here,
only
yeah.
an hour away, but
know, yeah.
I'm not sure why it hasn't happened before.
Yeah, it
but
worked out good.
yeah, good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Dakoda Armstrong, part of that Armstrong racing family. You will hear from his cousin Caleb and his brother as well. So good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
pleasure for you.
That's the Skinny on Part of the Family.